Hello and good evening. Let's have a look. See if we are live on my phone. Let's just see. Da-di-da-di-da. We are fantastic. Right, let's just... Hello and good evening. Da-di-da-di-da. That's it. That's it. Fantastic. Right. Hopefully, because we're on the So Totally Trisha page, I will see all your comments. Evening, Jill and John. Didn't forget today. Hope you're all well. I know you are doing better, and hopefully you're soon back to full performance as normal. Hello, Alison. Hello, Christine. And a bit of freezing already. Sorry about the mess in the background, but you know, hello Liz, hello Jeeta. Yes, I am, thank you. Lovely makes this afternoon. I'm glad you got able to do it. Hello Carol, hello Bev, hello Joanne. Lovely day, glorious. I pronounced summer. Hello Yvonne. But I just heard a little bit on the news, or on the weather forecast. It's going to be a little bit cooler. So, hey-ho. We can always put a cardigan on, can't we? So, I hope we're all well. I hope we've been busy doing things we want to do. Hello, Nikki. Yes, I think we have. I'm hoping. Hello, Judith. I'm hoping that it's been across the UK. Hello, Sharon. Lovely. And Northern Ireland, of course. I'm glad you've had a good day. Hello, Liz. Oh, fantastic. Oh, goodness. We needed to know that, didn't we, Jill? But I'm glad that's happened because it should get better now. Hello, Patsy. Oh, glass of red. What a good idea. Don't think I've got any in. Hello, Beverly. Hope you're doing well too. Oh, 46 going on 96. Hello, Jen. Good evening to you. And she says good evening to everybody too. Hello, Linda. Well, yes, today, what have I been doing? Today's just whizzed by. I can't actually think. Hello, Marilyn. Yes, I've been finishing that bit. I've been doing some orders and I've got those out. Had a little nana nap because I haven't had one for a good week. And I didn't sleep that well last night. I think because I'd watched Not Question Time, the Fiona Bruce thing, and it got me all awake. And so I didn't go to sleep very early. But never mind, I'm back to full force now. Hello, Caroline. Carol's done a bit of paper crafting and a bit of sewing. Fantastic. It's good to have an alternative as well. Sometimes you don't feel like sewing, so if you've got something else to do, really good. Hello, Jack. Lovely to see you. Weekend off, a bit of sewing, hopefully. Oh, and Beverly's doing well. Oh, jolly good. Oh, I love it when you say you've been to Sheringham. My favourite place, the Norfolk coast, and Sheringham in particular, because as I've said before, I spent 1 week every year with my mum and dad when I was 16 and under. We went the same week, the last week of June. We went to North Street in Sheringham and we stayed with, I can't remember, Mr. and Mrs. Law. But they were lovely days. Happy Friday for you, Nikki. Oh, Nikki, Trisha on the screen and broke up from work. 2 whole weeks. Fantastic. And hello, Pamela. Yes, it was lovely to have a chat today. Now, Pamela won the March giveaway and she was so thrilled. So that is on its way to you, Pamela. And I hope you enjoy. Oh, you're more than welcome. More than welcome. Hello, Sue. Hello, Jill. Hello, Sue. Hello, Denise. You're dropping in for a short time. Oh, we had sleepovers last weekend. It is lovely. It is lovely. But, everything goes out the window. It's just sort of, you know, all different, isn't it? Jane's busy packing for holiday tomorrow, going to Dawlish Sewing Machine, and stuff packed first. Wow. Or is going to Dawlish. Sewing machine and stuff pack for, of course, of course. You need to have something there you're able to do as well, don't you? Nice weather, lovely walks along the beach, and sewing as well. Hello, Christine. Good evening, Karen. Hope you're well. It's all okay. Jolly good. Hello, Jill. Hello, Elaine. Yes, what a glorious evening it is. Hello, Carolyn. Oh, Jack. Yeah, there's always some boring things like that, isn't there? But once you do it, it goes quite quickly, actually. I like to get things out of the way. I turned some trousers up for Martin the other week. Hasn't worn them yet. But I thought if I don't do it straight away, it'll just get left and then it'll be, oh, can't be bothered. I prefer to start with pretty fabric and make something from scratch. I'm sure you do too. Hello, Wendy. Hello, Christine. Oh, good. You got that as well too. Lovely. Yes, got your priorities right. Absolutely have. So, yes, what I thought, what we're going to do tonight is, I'm thinking Easter. It is 2 weeks away now, and it's not that long, but it's time enough if you wanted to make something for Easter. Hello, Patricia. Oh, I'm showing my silver here. Yes, I haven't coloured it yet. But when it's warm, I just have to get the hair off my face because it dibbles in my face and I don't like it. So this is what, I'm not going to make the whole thing, but I'm going to tell you how I put it together, and what I'm going to do is a smaller version, so a mug rug type thing, but a squarish one with all the techniques on there. So for those of you who are Sew with Trisha members, you've got these templates, but there's another bunny template in there as well. And I'm going to use the other one, but I'm not going to put flowers on. But what I'm going to show you is how I made this. Now this one, I used half a width of fabric. So it's about 22 inches. It's not crucial to the size. It is quite sweet, isn't it? But you can do exactly what you like with it. Hello, Lynn. Lovely to see you. But I just thought a couple of bunnies and some flowers and a bit of grass at the bottom. And it doesn't necessarily have to be Easter, but perfect if you'd like it to be. So, as I say, this is 21, 22. And all I've got is some backing fabric. I've put calico on the back. And there is some wadding in there. Hello, Eileen. Hope all went well. I'm sure it did. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here tonight. Fantastic. We knew it would be different, didn't we? Yes, so I'm going to make one. Hello, Patricia. Lovely to see you. I do miss having our chats. Hello, Jennifer. So I'm just going to do one bunny and then the basics of this. Now, it's about, I think I started at 7.5 inches wide to take into account the height of the bunnies. But you might want to put 4 bunnies along a longer one. It's all a case of placing whatever you like, where you like. I've done the reverse image of the bunnies so that you can have them looking at each other. I was going to put a little heart between them, which you could do. And then I've just bound it like a quilt. So I thought we'd do all of that. We'll use some steamer seam to show you how to use that. We'll do a little bit of not ending till I beat Granny. That's what the boys must. I've just got a YouTube notification at the top saying not finishing till I beat Granny. Well, they always win at any game. It was perfectly. Oh, fantastic, Eileen. That is good to hear. Hello, Susan. There we are. So you can build it up whatever you like, however you like. So let me just show you the template. So for those of you in the Sew with Trisha group, you have a couple of flowers, so you use whatever you like. I didn't bother to do the stems or the grass, but I'll show you how to cut that as well. And then I'm going to use this bunny here tonight in the centre of a little mug rug. And as I say, you can use both of them all of them in the same direction, or one of each like I did. Hello, Angela. Good evening. But they are quite cute, aren't they? I'm sorry my drawing isn't perfect, but I have a look at a picture and then I just draw from that, you know. Or, I mean, sometimes it comes straight out of my head and I just draw it, but I'm not the best. I'm not an artist in the slightest. And these are Sizzix flowers, so I die cut the card and I just drew around it. That's why they're nice, quite even flowers. But you do whatever you like. It's entirely up to you. If you wanted to make a big square one with bunnies going all around the edge, yeah, that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to use the one with the folded ear. Jane. Well, we could have it laying down, couldn't we? You know. Yes, I haven't put pom-poms on it, but pom-poms would be good on the tails, and also on the back of the one I'm going to use today. I could put a pom-pom. So if you've got some in your stash, by all means use them. It will look really, really good. I didn't even put an eye on my bunnies on there. Sometimes I should have to put something up to it. Even a button might be good, because sometimes when you put the eyes on, it doesn't look quite right anymore. Hello, Marilyn. No, I just like to bring you lots of different ideas. So that's what we are going to use. The template is in files. Please download, save, print, whatever you like to do, because it will be removed at the end of April. Plenty of time at the moment, but if you leave it all to the last minute, it's always a rush, isn't it? So let me see. I do need to turn this awful thing now, because as you know, Facebook haven't allowed me to have that button where whoops, that's it, we're going down there. So I'm going to go round the mess and down to the machine. So let's see if we can get it on here without pressing any buttons inadvertently. And then we'll come down like that. Whoops. Oh, perhaps I need to go down a little bit more and it won't let me go down anymore. Or perhaps we'll do that. There we are. There we are. So you can see all of those, can't you? And hopefully I'm watching it on my phone here as well. Oh yes, that's good. So what we're going to use is Steamer Seam 2. And this is just like Bondweb in its use. They are both dry adhesives, which will, when they're melted with heat, they will, we pop them on the back of fabric, and then because it's double-sided, it sticks to the back of the fabric, and then you can stick that to another piece of fabric. Or, as I've seen with this, you can stick it, as in fuse it with heat to, let me see what it says on the thing. You can fuse it to fabric, wood, paper, metal and glass. It is machine washable and dry cleanable. And it's ideal for any no sewing projects as well. So if you didn't want to sew around the edge, because I am going to show you how, oh, there's Sue, hello Sue. Because it's a runner, well, you might want to wash it, so I would sew around the edge. If you're going to have it as a wall hanging, you may not need to wash it. Therefore, you don't need to stitch around it because it is permanent once it is heat bonded. So the difference being that with Steamer Seam, it is tacky before you actually fuse it permanently with heat, which is really good, especially if you're layering up a design. So if you're doing, say, a Sunbonnet Sue, who had a head with a hat with a brim and then had a dress on top, you can actually place them on top of each other and then just iron it all in one, and they will stay in place together. whereas Bondaweb being dry, they do tend to move about. So if you're doing it with Bondaweb, you do need to do it on the ironing board where you're not going to have to move it again. So Steamer Seam has a gridded side. It's got paper on both sides, so it's both smooth on both sides, but it's easier to draw your shape, whatever you want it to be, on the gridded side. So I'm going to use this one here, and let me see if that is typical. I had a pencil right here, and now it's not. So I'm going to place it over my bunny like that. I don't like to waste it, so I actually put it as close to the edges as I can, so that there's no wastage. And I don't normally throw any fabric that has the Steamer Seam on the back of it, because I could cut other shapes and use that in another project. Excuse me. Hello Nettie, hello Sandra. Sandra, while I see you there, can you request to join the sew along, the carry all, because I haven't seen your name there, unless I've missed it. But you can join the group if you just find it and request to join. Okay, so can you see what we have there? I have put the Steamer Seam, as it comes off the roll, on top of my picture. And as I say, I've got it quite close to the bottom there. And then I'm just going to draw around the shape that I see. And it doesn't matter if it's a little bit wiggly or crooks are going to be absolutely unique. So this is what I'm doing all the way around. Now you could, if you wanted to, draw on the other side. And I've actually reversed the other two bunnies already for you. So all you would need to do is put one on there and one on there, and you would get them both being facing each other, so in opposite directions. If I'd only given you one, all you would need to do is draw one that way and then one on the side which isn't gridded. The only thing you need to be careful when you come to peel it apart, that it will more than likely take off the wrong bit. So you will have to be a little bit more careful and make sure you take it off the other side. But it does come away on both sides. Okay, so we have drawn our picture. And now I'm just going to roughly, there we are, I'm just going to cut that away. And so I've just done it roughly. You don't need to cut this shape out straight away. So I'm just putting my little iron on here. That's it. So let's get our piece of fabric, which I didn't bother to get it, did I? Let's have a look here. So you get your fabric. I've got my fabric here. I think it's it's too long for that side. So we're going to want it to be about there. So I did think about, I don't know if there is any desire for a little kit, but I did think I could put some of these colour fabrics together so that you could do your own thing. So I would do widths of fabric which are perhaps 5 inches wide, 6 inches wide, so that you could make as big or as small as you like, or as many smaller projects as you like. So all I've done is cut a piece roughly big enough, and I'm going to take my pad, my pressing mat, I'm going to turn my fabric over, and I'm going to get my little iron here and give that a press. So, funny little iron, isn't it? It is a dinky iron. I got it off of the Long River because I've seen so many Chinese, Japanese videos where they always use one of these or something similar. And I thought, I'm going to have one. I'm going to have one. So what we're going to do now is we are going to peel one. So here it is that's it, it's starting to come up there. So I'm peeling off the paper backing that is not gridded. So it's the side that I haven't drawn on. And I'm just going to pull that off. And then this side, as you see, is tacky. It's holding onto my finger. So I'm going to pop that on here like so. And you can see there, it's already sticking to it. So I mean, sometimes I don't iron at this point. I iron afterwards to press it, but you can actually just iron this on now, like so. Just give it a little see. Now you can press it or you can fuse it for up to 30 seconds or even more. With Bonder Web, it is far less. You're talking about 10 seconds. With Bonder Web, you can overheat it and you can actually burn away the adhesion so that it won't stick. Whereas this will just go on. If you did it for a minute, it wouldn't burn away the adhesion, so it will still stick to whatever you're going to stick it to. So all I'm going to do now is I am at this point going to cut it out. So save yourself some time. Don't bother cutting before you fuse it, because it just means you're cutting twice instead of just the once. And when you're cutting it the second time, you may not cut it on exactly the lines that you cut it before. So you won't have any adhesion on one side, and it's, you know, irritating if you like. So save time, wait until it's fused to your fabric, and then just cut on the drawn line and all the way around. So, and it doesn't matter if you don't cut out exactly on the line. It's going to be unique. It's a bit of a unique bunny anyway. So I am using steamer seam. So I'm using the one that has a tacky backing to it, or rather the dry adhesive is tacky so that it holds to your fabric and doesn't shift about, even if you haven't used heat to bond it to your project or to your fabric. Okay, so we're nearly done. So as I say, I'm going to keep these other bits. There's a little bit there that's got some on. You could easily cut some circles to make flowers with. And I did stick it to the wrong side of the fabric. So it's gone onto the wrong side. There's the right side. Okay, got a bit on there. That might be things, you know. Okay, so at this point, I can now, but I'm going to wait till I've got my fabric piece together. So I've already cut my my grass here, and I'll show you how I did that. Let me see if I can find a piece of, I'm sure I had another piece of green fabric. Let's just see, perhaps I didn't. We'll find something. There's a bit there. Oh, that's got that on it. There, oh, there we are. I found a little bit of green fabric. So all I did here, I cut a piece of fabric which is, just over about 2.5 inches wide. And I want to make it like this. Let's just turn that off because we don't need that for a minute. And so just to make life easy, mini eggs, that's a good idea. Mini eggs from the waste piece. Okay, so I have my fabric. So I could use a rotary cutter, which I think I did earlier. Let me just move that to there and that just there. Whoops. It is much more friendly than Bonder Web. Oh, there's the pencil that I lost. Okay, so just to make it easy, what I've done, just get those bits off. I folded it in half. Let's start with the raw edges at this end. And I know that basically I don't want it to go right to the bottom. So all I did was a diagonal line there, and then another diagonal line, and another one. Okay, and then I went down a little bit further, and these are all at an angle. Okay, so angle. So I'm cutting little triangles out, and it doesn't take any time at all when you're using a rotary cutter, or you could use scissors. So I just start again. So if you want to use scissors, just cut at an angle, and then I'm cutting through 2 layers at a time, because it doesn't matter if it's not exactly the same either. And there you see the back pieces going away from the front, but it doesn't matter. Then when you get towards the center, just clip and clip. And so depending on where you start your cut, you can then see that you can have longer pieces and shorter pieces. So let's do a little one down there, and then another little one there. That one's a bit wide. So there is your grass, as easy as that. Okay, so that's how you do your grass. And then I have already stuck it onto my piece here. Okay, but what I use here, I haven't stuck these pieces down, but the base here, I use the 505 pop underneath here, just so that I can bond that to the piece. Now I don't want that one's a little bit too wide, so I'm just clipping that a little bit off. There we go, because we are going to stitch that down as well. So as I say, that's all I have there. And here is my bunny. So I am going to now, so you can, now this is the difference as well. With Bonder Web, you never want to try and pick this because it will fray the edges of your fabric. So I just do this all the time, whether seam or seam doesn't do that, but you may as well just use a pin, scratch the backing paper, and then you can peel that up and pull it off. Okay. And pull all those pieces off, and that is ready. Now you can see there, it's sticking to my finger, so it will stick to your fabric. So let's say I popped it on like that inadvertently and just did it down. Actually, that looks quite good. Looks different, doesn't it? But it's wrong, but it's not going anywhere. Whereas if you popped your Bonder Web on there, it would fall off straight away. So that is the wonderful thing. Now, if with this bunny, you wanted to give him different coloured ears, so that you took another piece of fabric, say pink, and placed that over the top, the tackiness of the steamer seam would stick it to there, and again, it wouldn't fall off. So I'm just going to pull this up, because what I'm going to do, and this is the reason I didn't put these down, I'm just going to pull those bits of grass back like that, and then I'm going to put my bunny underneath. And I don't want him to be too high. Oh, he is a bit there. So where is let's just have a look here. Let's just bring him down just that little bit further. So let's lift him up, bring him down there, and then I've got a little edge, that's it. So he is about straight, and then I can just lift up my pieces of grass. There we are. So he's sitting behind the blades of grass. Yes, but he did look quite cute, didn't he? He's pretty much in the centre. I think that's fine. So now, although it's stuck there, what I'm going to do is give him an iron like this. So I'm just pressing that down. I'll probably do it. You want to do it enough, because if you don't fuse it, what you sometimes have, and it has happened a little bit to me, not too much, is that when the gluey part is not fused, it might make your needle a little bit sticky, but by, let's just turn that off. By fusing it, it means that the glue there is totally adhered and used, and you can see that's not going anywhere. I can try and pick that up, and it's not going anywhere at all. So next thing we need a backing fabric. So I've got myself a bit of backing fabric, and I'm going to quilt through all of it at the same time. So I've got my thermolam wadding, because I must admit, when I'm doing free motion, hello Sonia, when I'm doing free motion, I do like to have something more than just stitching onto through fabric. You get a much better stitch out. So I've already put that on the back, but here I like to use, that's about stop. I like to use my 505 spray. So I'm just going to spray the wadding, smooth that down, and then pull. So I do just like a quilt, only do half of it. And then just a little bit, just to give that temper, and then flip it over. And again, taking a little bits of fluff off there, pull half of it back, little spray, flip that back, smooth it out, and then pull the other back. You can see it's not going any further. And then make sure you don't get it onto your machine base, your table. And also, best to do it in a ventilated room. I have got the door open down there so that you don't get too much smell. And then just smooth it out from the centre to the sides, and you've got a nice smooth backing, because you want it to be able to move nice and freely on your needle bed. Okay, so we're ready now to do a little bit of free motion. So what shall we do? What do we need? We need a free motion foot. Now, there are lots of different free motion foots. Yours may be plastic, may have a spring here, it may not. It may be a horseshoe shape, an open toe free motion foot, or it may be full circle. It may be large, it may be small, but this is the one I'm going to use. I like the open toe so that I can see through that gap as to where I'm stitching. So we do need to, and I think the majority of machines you will need to do this, is you need to unscrew the foot to place the other foot on there. Let's just see, there we are. So my foot, I've just raised that. What am I doing? I just need to undo that large one there. I don't need to take the whole screw out, so just see, and I can take that off because it fits into, so there, this one just fits up onto the shank. This one goes around it. So wherever there's a hole, as I say, it's got like a little arm that goes round it. It needs to open just a little bit more for it to go round. And then it sits on there. I screw it up minimally by hand and then tighten it with my screwdriver because we don't want it moving anywhere. Okay. Then the other thing we need is feed dogs down. These are your feed dogs, these little zigzaggy bits. So we need to move those down. Now, on your machine, it may be you need to take off an extension table. There may be a little lever at the back that you can't see from here. There may be a lever at the front edge, but mine is a little lever at the side. And I don't know if you saw there, but mine have gone down. Now, what I will say at this point as well is that I've changed my needle. I've defluffed my underneath my plate here, and I've also oiled it. So the majority of modern sewing machines do not need oiling. They've got a slow release system. So if you've got Janome, the Normal Brother, Pfaff, any other Husqvarna, they won't need oiling. But if you've got Juki, any in the TL series, because they're a semi-industrial, it may be you need to for an HD9, which is a Janome one, but there's some little holes that need oiling. And also in where the bobbin goes, that needs to be oiled as well. I didn't know that. I watched a little video and on YouTube about it, and I've never oiled it since I've had it, which is terrible. But my goodness, the sound of my machine now is wonderful, absolutely purring along. It'll probably go wrong now. So I gave it a little TLC this afternoon, and it absolutely loves it. So if you haven't done yours for a while, I would do that. So I'm going to do the bunny first. Actually, I'm going to turn him upside down because, no, I'm going to do the grass first. So I'm going backwards and forwards. So all I'm going to do is I will go just around the edge here. And I'm just going inside. So I'm doing straight stitching. Let's just move that out of the way like that. And doesn't matter. I don't change my stitch length because your stitch length just depends on how fast you've got your machine running and how quickly or slowly you push your fabric. So it's good to do it consistent. So have your foot on your foot pedal at a consistent speed. Or if you've got a machine that runs without a foot pedal and you've got a button to press on and stop and start, by all means use that because you will have a constant speed with that without thinking about it. And all you have to worry about is how quickly you push your fabric under the machine. So shall we go? And all I say, you can take your foot off the pedal. Right, so we're going up here, back down there, and up there. Now you probably won't be able to see the stitching because I've got a grey thread. Now I'm putting my hand just to hold those little spikes down. And wow, and I missed that bit, so I've just gone back over it. And up to that spike, and down to that point there. And I'm attaching the spikes of my grass or leaves, whatever they are, and over the top of my bunny. Right, I can stop there. If I want to move this around, I can. So I'm just holding my finger down just to keep those. And you don't have to worry. Now that one's popped up, so I'm going to pop him down. You don't have to worry about your stitching being an exact distance from that outer edge. And if you miss a bit, go back over it. Doesn't matter if you go twice. There's another bit popped up. There we are, so just hold that down with your finger and push the fabric backwards and forwards. I'm not going too fast, but I'm just keeping it nice and constant. And it's surprising how quickly you get used to it. If it doesn't work for you straight away, stop, go away, and come back to it. And I guarantee, I'm just going to go around the outside edge now, because that is going to be covered by a binding. And then I'm just going to go across here. Oh, I expected it to take that, but obviously, just like if it had the feed dogs up. So just push that under, just to hold those edges down as well. And then we'll cut. Or, yes, let's cut that down. Okay, so we've stitched all of those pieces. If you have got any little bits, like I don't like that bit, and don't really need that bit there, that bit's a little bit spiky, we can trim that away, but that is fine for me. So now I'm going to go around the edge of our bunny. And as I say, my preferred is to actually stitch towards me. So I'm turning it round so that I can stitch around the edge here. Let's just take that bit of fabric out of the way. So we'll start down here on the edge of the bunny. And I'm just going to go, and I could even go around this twice if we want to. So I'm just going around the edge, around his ears. See, I'm not that close to the edge on that one. So I will go around just a second time. Just, there we go. Just to give it a good edging. There are some really good, let's look on there. So I'm coming back again now. There are some really brilliant free motioners, and they can get their stitching totally consistent the whole way around. Right, so I'm there. I'm going to swivel it round so I'm coming towards me. Nothing wrong with that at all. And around there. And I can see quite well for going around that edge there. But my preferred direction is towards me because I can see where those edges are. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. And there is my free motion done. Okay, so the next thing I am going to do, I'm going to take my foot off here and put my ordinary foot back on. So I'm going to flick my lever so that it is back in neutral. My feed dogs are up. I'm going to tighten my... Oh, there's a spider. Oh, my goodness. Did you see that? Oh. Oh. I'm not usually that bad. I didn't expect it to come down there. Probably living inside my machine. Oh, my goodness. Oh. Okay. So I am going to turn my stitch length up because I'm just going to do a little bit of stay stitching around the edge. So right on the edge of my... That little noise was my feet dog swinging back up. Okay. Oh, I made that pucker a little bit, but never mind. There we go. So I'm just going around at the edge and around here just to hold all my layers together. And I'm going right so that when I do the binding, that is going to be hidden. But I am going to trim this so that I have got a perfect square. Okay, and then just along this top edge, we could do a lot more free motion in those areas. I did think about doing butterflies. Okay, so I stitched all around those extremities, and I'm now going to put it on my cutting mat, and I'm going to square it off. John said, is the spider? Yes. Oh, my goodness. I can't believe there was a spider there. Oh. Oh. Okay. So now I'm going to look at my fabric, and I'm going to, that was originally square, and I'm just going to trim this now. So we'll cut that piece off. Whoops. So there's that bit. I'm going to spin it round, and I know that's a perfectly straight edge, so I'm lining up my ruler there so that I get a perfect square. Hold that down and trim that off. And now I'm lining it up with this edge here, which is a perfect square. Bring that down a little bit because it may have moved just a bit when we are quilting. And edge there, looking for that fabric. And then we know we have got a perfect square. So I have got, it's about 7 inches square this is. Oh no, I haven't done that one properly, have I? Haven't done this one here. Right, let's just line that up down a little bit. Perfect. Right, so now I have my perfect square ready for binding, which is exactly what I did with my big one. So it is just the same. We've got our grass, which I did. We did our grass here. We've got our bunnies, which I just stitched around the edge of the bunny. And then I did just what I've done here, stitched all the way around the edge within 1/4 of an inch from the edge, about 1/8 of an inch. And then we're going to bind it. So just a refresher on binding. So I have already, there we are, we've got a bunny on the back too. I've already got my width of fabric. It was 2 inches wide, so I don't need to join it at all. So I'm just going to snip off my selvage, and the easy way. Now, if you like to hand sew your second edge, so we always machine stitch it to our wadding, our quilt rather, whatever it is, a runner, table mat, mug rug. You probably like to stitch it to the front and then turn it to the back and you hand stitch. But I'm going to do from the back, I will do those off later. I'm going to do it from the back so that I can turn it to the front and top stitch on the front. So how do we start? We start down one side. I'm going to start here, leave a flap, leave a good 6 inches, and then I'm going to stitch along here. I'm going to have a 2.5 inch stitch length. I'll start off and just reverse a couple of stitches, and I'm going to stitch down to 1/4 inch from this other edge. So there we are. And at that point, I'm going to move this diagonally and stitch into that point. So you can see that there, I've stitched into that corner. Then I can pull my strip, my folded strip. I don't know if I said that. I just folded my 2 inch wide strip in half. I thought it was a mini heat press. It looked like one, yes. They're about £50, so, but this was cheaper. So I got this wrong size together, folded in half, so I've got an inch wide strip. And I'm just going to pull it to the right, make sure my binding lines is in a continuous line with the edge here, and then I'm going to fold it to the right and get the fold right on the edge of that first bit we started stitching. Then I'm going to start stitching right from that edge. I'm not leaving a gap. Start stitching, and I'm going to come all the way down to, I can't believe how beautifully my machine sounds, 1/4 inch from the end. So I just have myself, that's it. And then I'm going to pivot and stitch into the angle. You can see that angle there, and cut, and then pull the binding to the right, flip it to the left, fold on that very edge, pop it under our needle again, and hold that so that the raw edges are all aligned. And let's just mark my point so I can see 1/4 inch from the end, and stop, pivot, stitch into that diagonal, into that corner point, pull our binding back to the right, flip it to the left. You could pin this if you want to. I always say, you know, you do what makes you feel comfortable. So we're going to pull that bit back. But I just hold it with my fingers and just stitch down that edge. Now I'm being careful that this is a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm marking my 1/4 inch spot there again as well, because that will make, when we fold our binding back, it is going to fit perfectly if we've done our 1/4 inch seam allowance. So there is our last one. Fold it to the right and then to the left. Fold is right on this edge that we've just stitched. And I'm going to leave a fairly big gap here, right, because we want room to play with. So I'm just going to come a couple of inches along here and reverse. So what we have is 2 flappy bits here. Okay, we'll just see what we can see. I've got 2 flappy bits. So I want to have it probably about halfway, because I want to make it easy. It's a small piece and it's much bigger. It's easier to work on a bigger piece. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to cut this piece. So one side I'm going to cut, the other side I'm leaving long, but I'm going to bring that and fold it so that the fold matches, so that it just butts up to my cut edge. Okay, I'm going to take it back. You don't want it to overlap, and you don't want too much excess there. You want that to be just about on. Just going to take that up just a tiny bit more, because you don't want excess fabric when we join, otherwise you get a little pleat. Okay, so that is just butting up there. The piece I cut off, we open out and we use that width to measure where we're going to cut. So I'll put it this way up. We'll place it on the piece that's folded, because we need to cut this to a proper length. And then we're going to cut at that edge, only through the top, only through the flappy bit. And this is why it doesn't matter what length, or sorry, what width binding you use, it will always work with this technique, because the binding will be a different width, so you'll cut a different length, but always use the width of your binding to make that cut. So from here, pull those two ends up, open them out. Whoops. I usually just push them apart, and then you are going to go right sides together, and we're going to flip it round a bit so that, or we're going to make it perpendicular so that one edge, right, I'm going to put a pin in here because I haven't got enough playroom. One edge meets the long edge. The short edge of one side meets the long edge of the other side. So let's just put a pin just so that I know that is in the right place. Because what I'm going to do here, I'm going to unpick a little bit of this because I haven't got enough room to maneuver. So I'm just putting my seam ripper, just do that first little bit. Whoops, that's it. And then I put that little red ball in there. Okay, because we're going to stitch over that again, but I want to have room for this to lay flat. Okay, so we've got our piece, which I put up there. So that piece is going towards there, but we're not stitching. We just want that to hold in place. And where we are going to stitch here, from that point to this point here. So from here, the diagonal to the other line that I put the pin in. So we now want to lay this flat, and it's quite difficult because I haven't got a lot of movement there. We want this to be flat, and I suppose had I moved it a little bit further along, so we can fold up our mug rug anyway. And let's get the point of our needle in there to begin with. Right, so we're in there. I'm going to change the stitch length to lower than 2. I'm just going to make sure this under here is flat, because, so I'm just pulling that out. And if you can get to draw a diagonal line, that's it. And I'm just pulling under here. When you've got, I usually leave probably a 12-inch gap, but it's small, so there isn't room to have 12 inches. So I'm going towards where that pin is, and I want to come out exactly, that's better, exactly where this is here. So we could put a pin there and then cut. Now, before I cut that excess away, that was correct. Okay, so I can now, with this triangle here, I can actually cut that away like that. And I can also then open out my seam just like it's a bias join. So just with bias binding, always any joins in bias binding are opened out. And then we can fold it back together, and that will actually, there we go. That is going to spread the bulk across there. So let's just get our little iron back again, because I do like to press. Isn't it just? Isn't it just? So I'm just going to press in here. It isn't actually ready yet because it's red, but then we can fold this flat as well, because we want to keep our, there we go. So just fold that all along there, and then that presses nice and neatly. Right, so I've got my binding there. That was a little bit off because that was because it got, there we are. So we just trim that away and pop that down. And then I'm being careful here because you don't want to stitch over that. That is our fold. That is our corner. So we can start from here, from where we finished stitching. And again, we are going to start stitching along here. Just be careful of that one there. And we want this to be beautifully flat. There we go. Okay. So now we have our perfect seam there. Now what I like to do, because I am flipping this over, oh, it's still on, that's good. I also then like to press from the back. I'm just pressing these over like that, and this one as well, all the way around. So press these over. It just helps it when you come to stitching, when you come to doing the other one. If you're not hand sewing, it makes them fold back really, really nicely. Okay, so just press that back, and then you know you haven't got any pleats that you don't want. Let's just turn that off. Okay, so then we can go to the other side and we can pull over our binding. Let's just clip those away. Don't want those little bits of thread, they get in the way. And then pull that one over. Don't clip these corners off because they help to give us that lovely square corner. So just pop those corners into the binding. Okay. And then we're just going to pull this edge over, and it's going to go beautifully over our line of stitching there. And we're just going to stitch all the way around. So under my needle again, and I like to line my foot here is the inside of my foot where this little gap is. I have the edge of the binding, this bit here, just butt up to that inside of that left part of the foot. And then we get a nice straight line. Okay, we get a nice straight, continuous, constant line. Now I'm coming down to this corner here. So make sure that that point, that square edge is tucked in there. I like to push a seam ripper or tool down there and then pull that back up so that I have a nice mitre here. And then I poke that in, so I could use that awl there as well. Poke that in, be very careful, but as you come up to where that is, pull it out just before you get there and stitch into that, and then that fold is held down. You see it's not flapping. Okay, so then we can pivot and we're ready for our next round. I think that's just long enough. So a couple of inches before you get to the next corner, pull that over, seam ripper into the fold, into that edge, and then pull that up. So I've got my fingers holding that down there. Oops, that just moved. So let's pop our seam ripper point in there. Right, that's holding it down. And then let's just pull this over, because you do want to have a nice consistent edging all the way around there. Again, if you want to pin, you can pin all the way around here. I just tend to just go for it and let's just pull those off. There we go. Those little edge bits of my grass. Let's get rid of that bit as well. So pull that over into that point at the bottom, push that up. I should have my nails on, shouldn't I really? But I can't bear them all the time. So there we go. And point into that mitre. That's in there. And we've only got one more to do. So we're on the third side, all the way along here. It is quite cute, Alison, isn't it? Right, so I'm nearly at that corner there. Pull that down. Now, I know a lot of you will have done this, the mitering of your corners before, but it's a basic, and there may be some of you that haven't done it before, and it's just a little refresher for those that haven't done it for a while. So here we come up to where we started, 2 or 3 stitches over, directly over where, that's it. And actually you can't see where I stitched there. So we'll cut that little bit away. Now on the back, which we're not going to see the back, it's not too bad. Oh, if I hadn't done, it's only that little bit where I've managed to go onto my binding, but all the way around there, there's nothing on the binding there. Let me just switch the light on because it's all of a sudden gone dark. There we are. All of a sudden gone dark. So you can see that there. Got a few stitches. So that was where I had stopped and started the free motion. So we can just clip those off. Oh, there's another one just there and there. So, you know, that's quite a pretty back to it as well. But there we are. As easy as that. It is always nice to have a refresher, isn't it? So I'm just going to flip it around again. Whoops. So, well, for a minute you'll have to see, whoops, you'll have to see me. Oh, here I am. Oh, I do thoroughly enjoy making these things. There we go. There we go. We are here. Yes. So there is our little bunny. And here is our longer bunny. So you've got all of those templates to have a little play with. There we go. So just very, very similar, but that would be nice to have a mug on there. And I'd say you can wash it. If you want to do a little bit more quilting, what I think would be nice would be echo quilting. So going around the edge on the white, on the edge here, go all the way around the bunny, and then do another, say, 1/4 of an inch outside of that. So all these comments, lots of comments today. I'll have a look at the comments. There, you like it. Oh, you could try your mitre tool. Now, do you know, I did think that, but I didn't want to use all my beautiful purple stuff fabric on the back, which is why I've still got some spray time, which is nice. But by all means, if you want to use fabric on the back that comes over to the front, use your amazing mitre tool as well. But it is a fun little make. It really is. And I think if you're doing it, you know, you could make it with grandchildren in that they choose the fabrics, they could trace the templates. You could use the iron to stick it on. Thank you, Marion. Thank you, Jen. And then you could do the stitching, but they've taken part as well. So that's what we have. Our first little Easter make. And yes, pop it on a tote bag. Wouldn't it look great? Yeah, and have the Easter egg in there as well. Okay, I'm going to love you and leave you now. I hear my dinner is ready. It does work every time, Patricia, doesn't it? Every time. It's amazing. Thank you, Pamela, and thank you, everybody, for joining me tonight. Now, if you would like to like and share this video, would be fantastic. I shall download it. I've got a couple of others with basics on as well, which I will put on that other platform. I don't like to say too much, but thank you, Lynn. So they will be on there over the weekend. I will say thank you so much to everybody that's watching that other platform. And my hours of viewing have gone up considerably. I'm now, I need 3,000 hours and I'm just under 1,500. So I'm halfway there and it's all down to you. So thank you so much. Have a lovely, lovely weekend. I will see you next week. Next week we have got in the Sew with Trisha group, we have the number 2 block of the month for our Christmas runner. And then we may have a little sneaky fabric sale. And on Friday, I'll find another little project for you. So take care of yourselves. Have a great weekend. And I'll see you next week. Bye for now.